myself and did it. That's one of the lessons I would take from that, is that you would want to make sure that those assets were transferred at fair value, or that you just took over that company completely. We were kind of empire building at the time, so we just wanted to make our telecoms business as big as possible. So that was why we just absorbed it into the telco, because it increased our billing. But what's interesting is we probably had that business for about 6 or 7 years where it didn't really grow at all. It would, lose a customer, gain a customer, but more or less stay roughly where it was for quite some time. We then sold the telecoms company, and when we sold the telecoms company, it was worth exactly the same amount with the IT business as without it. And so we thought, well, we might as well keep the IT business because it's not adding any value to the telco. And that was largely because the telco operators weren't interested in anything other than just adding customers and revenue, because that's what they were measured on. So something peripheral, they just didn't see any value in. And so we created a separate IT company. Funnily enough, the operations director who was in that first job interview with me, he became the CEO of this new IT company, and we moved the customers over there. Now, a really interesting thing happened. In the first 12 months, that business was on its own 2 feet. Its revenue more than doubled. It literally shot through the roof. And the only sort of explanation I have, it now had its own reason to live. It had its own balance sheet, it had its own P&L. It was, the old, everything measured in proofs. We were now measuring it by its, sales and its invoicing. Whereas when it was in the telco, it was like a little bit lost in there. It was like the orphan bastard child in the corner, and now all of a sudden it was it had its own raison d'etre.